You want a shout out for me and have more vids frequently? Then support me on Patreon, where the cost is only $3. So we all know that one ship that many were ready to set sail as soon as we saw this predator and prey duo. Even with very little evidence of the two actually having those kinds of feelings with each other, people still believed that it was going to be a thing, god dang it. Well, what if I told you a completely different show that can help satisfy those interesting desires with the wolf named Legoshi and Louie? Okay, all joking aside, good morning everyone. My name is Jason Blade, and this is a Bat's first impressions of Beastars. Now it's been a while since I've last reviewed a furry-related anime on Netflix. As much as I did enjoy the show, anime isn't necessarily my cup of tea. Doesn't help that 3D anime features are very hit and miss for me personally due to the animation being more of a distraction rather than supportive. So when I saw the hype of Beastars, I was pretty hesitant to give it a shot from a sub's perspective. So I was willing to wait it out until the official dub was featured. And oh my god, I was totally slipping on this show. I was expecting only to watch at most the first 2 episodes to get a taste of the series. Instead, I ended up watching 5 episodes, and I went to bed at 1 AM, which honestly had me writing this script on my phone right now. At least for the introduction part of this video. So, yeah, let's dive right into this bad boy. The episode starts off with the moment where a wolf and a rabbit first meet in very primal circumstances. The first thing you can see from this imagery is mesmerizingly eerie. Just from the scene alone, I was completely impressed with the intensity that was brought throughout the entire scene. The attention to detail with the red eyes pierces your soul with fear of what could happen within the next moment. It sets up a "how did we get here" trope for this particular episode, and it sets the stage of what this world is like. Right after that, we then cut to a full red moon, also deemed as the blood moon, that represents the beginning of the end. We then see an alpaca running for his life from a big carnivore. During this entire chase scene, the details to lighting is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in a 3D focused anime. The saturation of red being reflected on the alpaca's fur makes him the doomed target, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. You know that he will be the one to bite the dust, but the intensity of the light and fear within the character makes a viewer bleed sympathy out for him. When he goes into the lecture hall, the way they tackled the darkness was amazing to the smallest detail. Featuring the character and the items that are nearby with only blue outlines feels like a genuine style change, and the gleam of light showing the original 3D model takes the cake for me with how detailed it is overall. Not to mention the irony of the projecting spotlight on the victim showing a PowerPoint slide that translates to mutual understanding between species. It signifies a double entendre, with the original meaning focusing on the understanding of equal grounds that the two sides are trying to reach, while the second is the reality of the primal dynamic within the show. The final thing we see are the sharp claws of the carnivore as he goes for his meal. After witnessing the demise of the victim, we cut to the next day as the school newspaper is being read by a few of the herbivore students. This is where we get to learn more about the victim. The alpaca's name was Tem, and he was a student that was in the drama club, one of the few clubs that have both carnivores and herbivores in the same room. They do mention a gray wolf to be the possible culprit in it since he was also a part of the drama department. What they didn't realize was the gray wolf was overhearing their conversation. This was a good backstory of a now deceased character. When a show starts off like this, you need to have a way to help us know more about him as well as give things he is interested in to help solidify the world and where the focus is being put on within the school. Plus, being a theater nerd myself, I love how they're using the drama department as the basis of our main protagonist, who we'll officially meet later on. As we do get into the club, Els the Angora goat was talking with some of the herbivore students about Tem. They couldn't help but notice the gray wolf, whose name is Legoshi, staring intently at her, and it does leave a very chilling experience with that prey dynamic being played here, with the body language shown between the two of them. When we cut forward at night, we do see Els' paranoia get the better of her as Legoshi confronts her to give Tem's love letter to her. That's when we finally get to see the calm and sweet side of Legoshi. Being able to pay attention to his body language, you can tell that he is very well reserved with his somewhat monotonous voice and his back arcing forward when he sits. From a personal perspective, I definitely understand that he's trying to be smaller for everyone else. When you are as tall as Legoshi, there are times where you try to shrink yourself in order to appease those that are around you, and also try not to be loud helps feed that imagery in being equal to one another. The more space you take up, the more people will think you're trying to assert dominance. So while Legoshi is talking with Elms, you can tell that he wanted to have that equal playing field between them. The next day, Legoshi was visiting the tribute for Thames, letting him know that he did tell Els about his love for her. We do get to see the relationship between Tem and Legoshi as well, with the quick flashback of them talking, which is about when Tem was going to tell her his true feelings. We then get introduced to another main character in Louis, who is clearly the most popular student within the school. The way he moves is filled with confidence, even when he is ready to pay respects for a fellow classmate. The camera angle given as he walks over there makes him look as if he is above status, and that he owns every room he walks into. You can even see the tension between Louis and Legoshi with a small conversation between the two before Louis asked him for a favor. We then cut to where we first meet the White Rabbit for the first time. She gets mistreated heavily by her dorm mates as they throw her stuff out of her room. It's very clear that a lot of the herbivores resent her. When she brought her stuff back, one of her roommates made it clear that she wasn't interested in aiding or hanging out with her. Even when she goes around to ask if she can sit anywhere in the cafeteria, many students deny her a seat. The way they showed that was very neat by using various murals on the wall to show students telling her no. We do continue seeing the struggles as we see a group of students ready to harass her. We found out that her reputation is the school whore. Pretty fitting for a rabbit, huh? In the next scene, we go into the drama department office, where a goat is waiting for Louis to arrive. When he did arrive with Legoshi, he then told Louis to have her costume fitted for the goat, who we now know as Zoe, who will be replacing Tem for the show. Even with that announcement, he says a line from the play, but Zoe doesn't know them. Oh, he's one of those performers. As Louis bullies this poor goat kid, a mongoose named Kai barges in demanding why he wasn't chosen to be Tem's replacement. When Kai asked why Legoshi was there, he was ready to dip like a potato chip. Louis told him to stay so he could continue dropping bombs. In this case, Kai was being demoted to the art department of the club. He even digs at Kai's past failures in previous roles on stage to embarrass him. The amount of tension being built and the amount of control Louis has over the drama club being shown was put into perfection. It feels like a mafia mob setting, using his status to show the fear and power he possesses over everyone. Well, Kai was not having that, so he was ready to take Louis out, but Legoshi stopped him dead in his tracks. He warns Kai to not continue any further. When he doesn't abide Legoshi's wishes, the wolf bare his fangs to make the weasel move along. That catches Louis' curiosity, and he wants to use it for his own advantages. I find it interesting how Louis was able to get Legoshi's attention when he tries to leave after the confrontation. It shows Legoshi's most sensitive area to be his tail by only using one finger. It also shows how Louis is ready to take advantage of other people with his cunning wits and daring attitude. He wants Legoshi to be lookout for Louis and Zoe when they sneak into the space at night to rehearse. Legoshi was very hesitant on going along with it, but Louis insisted, even pulling the wolf's tie. The seed planting of the power struggle between the two is very good, considering what the two want from the dynamic of this world. Louis craves the power over carnivores with an iron hoof, while Legoshi just wants to stay in the background. We now go back to Haru once more as she cleans up from the crap she's been going through, and how the world see her as an innocent dwarf bunny. She talks about how the boys want to protect the innocence of her, and once it's taken by sexual desires or from rumors being spread, they'd never come back to her. When she leaves, it is the evening and we start to set up where we left off at the beginning of the episode. On her way back, Legoshi was pacing around the back entrance. When Legoshi catches Haru's sense, we see him turn primal. The segment was very interesting as we see the aroma of the herbivore fills his nostrils. We get an x-ray of his face and see the aroma turn into an image of a rabbit. We also see his nerves heighten throughout his body. We go to Haru's end, and we see her herbivore instincts kick in. The piercing eyes over her head, as well as the hands clasping to the ground, shows her imagery of fear. She was willing to give up on living, but even with that mindset, she was still willing to run for her life, because she still has a reason to live. When she gets caught, we hear what is on her mind in that moment. Thinking, will you understand? And that was the moon and the beast. Overall, I think the episode did an excellent job in setting up what kind of world we're stepping into. The subtleties of helping us learn what the world is like through the death of Thames was a nice way to introduce the world and the main characters that are involved in the drama club. Having Haru be introduced in a different way from everyone else really shows how these two meeting would change Legoshi's life. The show is clearly going to play with the dynamic of herbivores and carnivores within the world. With Tem dying in the beginning, I'm wondering if this would also focus on a whodunit storyline down the road in this season as well. I think the brightest point, as I said at the beginning, is the overall animation and the attention to detail in both the lighting and body language. The show is filled with a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see what's next. Thank you for taking the time to see this review, and a huge thank you for the Patreons of March. If you'd like to see more, click on the videos to the left. Until then, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.